first light barely touched the barn roof when the piglet woke. She smelled something different in the air. Not hay. Not mud. Something warm and round and faintly sweet. Her name was Pip. And this was the morning everything changed. For 7 days, the hens had been restless. They clucked low and secretive, shifting on their nests, watching the barn door with bright, worried eyes. Old Farmer Gray called it nest sitting. But Pip knew better. She had seen what the hens were hiding beneath their warm bellies. One egg. Small. Speckled. Different. Every evening, when the farmer closed the barn door, Pip pressed her snout against the nesting box and sniffed. The egg smelled of grass and straw and something else. Something that made her whiskers twitch. She didn't know why that egg mattered. But it did. The hens didn't talk about it. Not directly. But in the way of farm animals. They talked around it. Old Red the rooster stood on the fence each morning and crowed toward the egg, not the sun. The young hens gathered in tight circles, their feathers brushing, their beaks silent. Pip, who was small and round and still had her baby curls, had been told to stay away. "You're too little," the geese said. "You don't understand." But she understood more than they thought. She understood that the egg was waiting, and she understood that something was supposed to happen next. The morning of the 8th day, Pip woke earlier than the sun. The barn was dark and cold and smelled of old wood and damp feathers. She crept past the sleeping cows, past the pile of hay where the barn cat curled, and found the nesting box empty. The egg was gone. Her heart sank into her hooves, but then she heard it. A tiny sound, like a whisper, like a crack. She followed it to the end of the barn where the old wooden door leaned crooked on its hinges. A sliver of grey light came through the gap. And there, in the dust and broken straw, sat the egg. It was trembling. Pip pressed her wet nose against the shell. Warm, alive. Something inside was moving. She didn't know what to do. "Help," a tiny voice seemed to say, though no words came. Just a feeling. A pulse. A need. Pip had never hatched an egg. But she had watched the hens. She remembered how they sat still for hours, their bodies covering the shell, their feathers soft and warm. She remembered how they never left, not even for food, not even when the rain leaked through the roof. So she settled herself around the egg as best a piglet could. Her legs were too short. Her belly was too round. The egg kept rolling away from her warmth. But she did not give up. She gathered straw with her snout. She pushed it into a nest. She curled her body around it, tucking the egg against the soft skin of her belly, where the fur was thinnest. And she waited. The sun rose. The farm woke. The cows chewed. The geese gossiped, but Pip did not move. The first crack came at midday. Pip felt it through her ribs. A tiny shudder, like a stone dropped into still water. She held her breath. The shell split along a thin line, and then nothing. But she knew. She knew the egg was working. By afternoon, the other animals noticed. They gathered in a circle, watching.
Did you know the
young
nest by the
hens
window
whispered.
belongs to the new family?
The geese stretched
how
their necks.
Wonderful.
Even the cows turned their heavy heads. "You can't hatch an egg," the goose said. "You're a piglet." Pip said nothing. She just pressed her warmth deeper into the shell. The second crack came as the light turned golden. This one was larger, a dark line running from the top of the egg to the bottom.
Oh, look.
Pip
it's
felt it with
hatching.
her whole body.
Beep, beep.
The shell was breaking.
Hello there, little one.
Something was coming. But it was slow. So slow. And here is what Pip learned in that long afternoon. The waiting is the hardest part. And that is a secret the farm knows well. Every seed, every egg, every morning dew, they all take their time. If you want to walk with us through more of these slow, quiet moments, subscribe to Green Meadow. And tell me in the comments, what is one thing you have waited for? And how did it feel when it finally came? Pip thought about the farmer's breakfast, the warm milk that smelled of oats, the carrots she loved, the soft mash that filled her belly. She was hungry. She was tired. Her legs ached from staying curled. But she did not leave, because the egg needed her. And if you have ever wanted something badly, something that only comes if you stay, you know what Pip felt. That quiet, stubborn certainty. That refusal to move. Even when everything inside you wants to. The moon rose. The stars came out. And still, Pip waited. The third crack happened in the dark. It was not a sound. It was a feeling. A small movement inside the shell, like a finger pressing against a wall from the other side. Pip felt it through her skin, through her bones. The shell split open. A tiny beak appeared. Wet, soft, trembling. And then a head. Black feathers, slick with moisture. Eyes closed. Breathing shallow. The chick was here. But it was not finished. The chick lay still, too tired to move. Its little chest rose and fell. Its beak opened and closed, making no sound. Pip did not know what to do. She remembered the hens, how they waited, how they never rushed, how they let the chick rest before anything else. So she waited. She tucked her snout around the tiny body, breathing warm air over its wet feathers. She felt the chick's heartbeat against her own. 1 hour? 2. And then slowly, the chick opened its eyes. They were dark and bright. And they looked right at Pip. Something passed between them. Not a thought, not a word, just a feeling. A thread, invisible and strong, connecting the piglet who stayed as the chick who came. The farmer found them in the morning. Pip, exhausted but still curled around her nest, and the chick, dry and warm, tucked against her belly like it had always belonged there. The farmer's face did something strange. It softened. "Well, well," he said. "What do we have here?" He lifted the chick gently. It peeped once, a tiny sound, but full and round. And then he looked at Pip. "You did this, didn't you?" Pip blinked. She'd never been asked a question like that. She'd never been seen for what she did. Just a piglet who didn't know better. But she did know. She knew exactly what she had done. She had sat through a long, slow day, through hunger and tiredness and the doubt of others, and she had held one small egg until it cracked open. That was all. But that was everything. The farmer placed the chick back beside her. Then she's yours, he said, to take care of, until she grows. Pip looked at the tiny black chick, which was already falling asleep against her warmth, and she felt something she had never felt before. Not proud, not important, just full. Like the egg had given her something too. That feeling Pip had, the fullness of giving warmth and staying still, it is the same feeling that holds a farm together. If you love stories about the small, steady work that makes life grow, subscribe so you can meet more creatures like Pip and leave a comment. Share a time someone trusted you with something delicate and you did not let go. The chick grew quickly. Each day, a new feather. Each day, a stronger peep. It followed Pip everywhere. Through the mud yard, around the hay bales, under the fence where the sunflowers leaned. And every evening, when the barn door closed and the farm settled into dusk, Pip and the chick curled together in the same nest of straw. The other animals stopped whispering. The goose, who had doubted the loudest, now said nothing. The hens shared their grain with the chick. Even the rooster softened his morning crow. But one evening, a new question came. The farmer had brought the basket again, the one Pip remembered from the morning after the hatching. It was empty now, waiting. Tomorrow, the farmer said, we'll need eggs for the morning baking. Pip looked at the chick, which was no longer a chick. She was a hen now, small, black-feathered, with a red comb that caught the light. And she was looking at the nesting box. Something in Pip's chest went quiet. The chick, the hen, hopped up onto the edge of the box. She scratched the straw. She settled. And then she looked back at Pip with those same dark, bright eyes. The same look. The same thread. Pip understood. The work was not over. It had never been over. The egg had become a hen. And the hen would lay her own eggs. And those eggs would need warmth and patience and someone who would not leave. The cycle did not stop. It just kept turning. So the farm continues, seasons folding into seasons. This story is almost done, but Green Meadow has many more mornings. Subscribe now so you do not miss the next sunrise. And before you go, write in the comments. What is one thing you hope to see grow? On a farm or in your own home? The next morning, the farmer found 2 eggs in the nesting box. One small and brown and ordinary. One speckled and warm and full of promise. And Pip, curled beside the black hen, opened her eyes. She did not smile. Piglets do not smile. But she felt it. The same full feeling she had felt on the first night. The egg had given her something. And now there was another egg to hold. The farm was quiet. The sun was rising. The dew was on the grass. And somewhere in the dark soil of Green Meadow, another seed was waiting. Just as Pip had waited. Just as every harvest waits. Just as every egg waits for the warmth that will not leave. And the black hen tucked her head under her wing. Pip rested her snout on the straw. The 2 eggs sat between them, warm and still. Outside, the first light crept across the barn floor. Dust floated in the golden beams. The cows shifted in their stalls. The geese stirred by the pond. But in the nesting box there was only silence. Not an empty silence. A full one, the kind that comes after something important has finished. Pip closed her eyes. She had not planned to hatch an egg. She had not known she could, for the egg had needed her, and she had stayed. And that was enough. That was always enough. The farm would keep turning. The seasons would keep changing. There would be more eggs, more seeds, more mornings where the dew wet the grass and the barn door creaked open. But this moment, this particular morning, with the black hen sleeping beside her and the new eggs warm against her belly, this moment was complete. Pip breathed in the smell of straw and feathers and dust, and she let herself rest. The sun rose higher. The shadows shortened. The farmer came and went, his boots heavy on the wood floor. He checked the eggs. He smiled. He left a handful of grain on the edge of the box. But Pip did not move. Neither did the black hen. They stayed together, the piglet and the hen, two creatures who had found each other in a barn, on a farm, on a morning that was ordinary and extraordinary all at once. And the eggs waited, patiently, the way all good things wait,